All right, we're doing another show. I'm here with one of my dear friends, Farley Burge. For all you fans of the Jeff Hilliard crazy music videos, you will recognize Farley from the Good Life music video. Fucking fantastic. One of Hollywood's finest gems. He is a lovely fella. He's got currently has a new podcast he's doing. This is almost like I'm helping promote other people. That's what I dreamed about doing. Yeah, I'm a micro influencer, Farley.
Yeah, yes.
Micro. Your podcast is called "Just Don't Kill Yourself."
Just don't kill yourself today.
Today, but tomorrow you can, but not today.
I was having a really bad day, and I had someone say to me, "Man, just don't kill yourself today." And I thought, well, that's a great thing because it's about just don't do that one stupid thing. Don't kill your mom today. Don't masturbate in public today. Don't
Because sometimes people need to think about that before they do something really crazy. So, Farley, tell me this. Where did you come from originally? I think of you that you've come from another planet possibly and landed in Hollywood.
No, I came from Houston, Texas.
I've been to Houston.
I've
been to the beer can house.
Oh, yes.
Houston, yes. Some guy built a house out of beer cans. I was hosting a travel show, and I got to go to the beer can house.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty, not really that interesting of a story. The first time I ever encountered Farley, he was wearing a special needs helmet.
Yes. I had a friend of mine, and we had a bet, and I lost the bet, and he said, well, you got to wear this helmet. I think I wore it for 2 weeks. And it was a project of learning how people react to you when you've got this helmet on your head, and it was some people wouldn't let me to certain places. The conversations I would have, it was kind of like the doing an experiment of life and about when you had a helmet on your head. And now I think there's people who wear helmet on their heads and they actually need them or they're supposed to wear them. But yeah, it was
I think everyone could wear a helmet in today's society. I think now they'll have a helmet with the hazmat over it would be good.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it's this COVID thing. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's brutal. So, what was it like growing up in Houston? Besides being really hot. And humid, right?
Let's see. Growing up in Houston was it was it was a crazy experience. A lot of I went to the rodeo a lot.
Did you ever wear a cowboy hat?
I wore a cowboy hat. Yes, and
I think you should totally get back to that life. The cowboy Farley in a cowboy hat would be amazing.
Yeah. I actually, let's see here. I got a.
If you're gonna show me pictures, no one can see it on the podcast.
I know, but
fucking Farley, dude, dominating. I don't know if we can see that on camera. If you're watching this on YouTube, wow. Lady killer.
Yeah. That's my sister.
Yeah, well, I understand.
You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. Oh Jesus, no. So you're at the rodeo. You got the cowboy hat. You're thinking about what you're gonna be when you grow up. You're gonna be you're gonna ride the bulls. You're gonna.
No. I think for me, growing up, I didn't really see much of a future. I didn't really see much of my house was a very chaotic house. Divorced parents. A lot of just. It wasn't we had that perception of the house, everything looked good in the yard and the front, but if you went inside, it wasn't the same that was on the outside. So I didn't really see much of a future. I had a lot of learning issues, and I had a lot of debility. I had a hard time motor skills. So I had to wear these braces on my legs for many years. So, I was, I had to wear this special brace, and it was a lot of just, when you grow up like that, you're thinking, I'm probably not going to do much. This is probably not going to work out too well, and then people see it and they're like, yeah, this ain't going to work out too well,
So good. Well, yeah, I get it, Farley. I failed first grade. Second grade, I was put in special ed. I had learning disabilities. I thought if everything worked out really well, I could have been a Walmart greeter.
Yeah.
So I totally relate to oh my God, you had that's amazing. Like the braces and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
What was going on?
I was born a preemie, and I had a 26 or 29 full body blood transfusions when I was a kid. I was in the bubble, for I think about up to like 5 months. So my parents didn't touch me. I was in that thing where you would go and you had the gloves and you touch the kid, and so I had a lot of those issues, and what can I say? So I had to deal with that.
How do you come into the world and you have to feel a little strange compared to the rest of the kids, right? Your whole life was like trying to make other people feel at ease?
Yeah, I think for me, I was always I was made fun of, and I didn't feel like kids. They're young. I understand. They're like, why are you wearing? Why do you have those braces on your legs? And I remember when I used to ride the bus, and they would have this like special harness thing I'd have to wear, and nobody wanted to sit by me. Like they literally it was like this thing like they put over my and on the legs, and people was like, what the, and then I was always the last to get off the bus because the bus driver would have to go and like undo me to get out, and I'm like, and here I am, and then then you go to school. I remember learning how to tie my shoe, like that took forever. And like I remember when I did, I was like, yeah, and all the kids were like, dude, I've been doing,
wow.
Yeah.
Farley, just so you know, I've always been friend of the friendless.
Yes.
So I would have been your buddy if we would have went to school together. There was a kid named Jimmy in my school who, special needs situation, a very unfortunate scenario. And I remember I had a birthday party, and he came to it, and he was the first one dropped off, and he was there, and he's heartbreaking because his whole life was challenging. And I remember, and then his mother came and picked up, and she just went on to my mother how much she appreciated that we invited him to the birthday party, and it was such a big deal for him. And it was just one of those things where you're just like, I don't know. I think when most people's lives are difficult, and everyone has their own bullshit they have to deal with. But especially as a kid, though. But the one thing that's probably an amazing advantage is if you've taken a lot of like abuse in a sense where you've been made fun of, then you end up developing a sense of humor, a thicker skin. So then challenges, you're able to probably better adapt to it than a normal person.
Yeah,
I would assume.
Yeah, I think for me,
I guess it could go either way.
Yeah. I think for me, I was always like trying to help the other kids. I remember when I was a kid, like let's say if one kid didn't have money for ice cream, I would just get my ice cream, because I got to eat ice cream every day. I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need it today. I can just give it to you, and you can have. I didn't mind not having ice cream.
Folks, the best people are the misfit weirdos.
Yes.
Yes, these are the best people on the planet here.
I think I really enjoyed taking observing people, and I was kind of like a wallflower, and I just kind of like sat in the back and I think I watched like, okay, all right, do this, and don't do that.
Well, I would imagine the braces and all this sort of stuff. It wouldn't be like you're out breakdancing in front of everybody.
No.
Like, look at me, I got special skills with my braces.
Yeah.
Fucking what an ordeal. How long did that last for?
A few years from what I remember, and then I started making friends, and I was always very nice. And I remember one year I was in school and kids wanted to leave early, so I moved the clock like fast, like 20 minutes. And all the kids thought it was cool that I did that, so we got to leave early.
Nice. Farley's getting crafty.
So I did these things like that, and I was like, oh, I'm helping the whole here.
That's right.
Except the teacher, who ended up figuring out
that you're the troublemaker.
Yeah.
She probably had no mercy on you. You're like, look, I'm doing the best I can. I'm the kid with the braces on.
Yeah. Yeah. So
For fuck's sake, let me have this moment, lady.
yeah, and I think they didn't think that the guy with the braces would get up and change the clock. So
Well, I would hope that you would have got into like theft.
Yeah.
Because no one thinks that the handicapped person is stealing everything, like just going to stores and looting stores. That's a good thing to do. That's what I want to get, like when I become like an elderly man in my 90s and stuff. That's when you get into crime.
Yes.
Because you don't know if you stole it or not.
Right, and you can be like, I don't remember, and.
So how long did you were in Houston? I know that I met your dad, right? He came out here. We all went out to dinner.
Yeah,
he's a pretty colorful guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. How long? My parents divorced when I was like 7, and then we did that that custody thing for a few years. Like, go stay with my mom, then go stay with my dad, go stay with my mom, go stay with my dad. Do this, do that, and then finally my dad got custody of me, and I got and then I remember I started going to boarding school when I was like, I think 14. Yeah, I guess I got shipped off to school.
So they'd have to deal with you. That's what you do if you don't have to deal with your kids. You send them to boarding school, right?
Yes.
So did you have a situation where your parents are divorced? Now, are they trying to win favor with you? So is it like they're being like, you always hear these stories. Like, some people really liked it because they felt that their home life wasn't so chaotic, and then they got like more gifts because the parent, I guess, might have felt guilty about the separation, so they're trying harder to win favor, and then they're talking bad about the other parent, like it's their fault. I mean, that's a tough scenario for any kid to go through.
In my situation, it was really after my mom lost they had the custody battle thing, and then my mom kind of just took off. I don't think I didn't talk to my mom until I think I was like, from that point on, I think until I was like 18, 19.
Oh, wow.
So there was this
checked out.
there was a long space of time where my mom just, she just hit the range.
Was she a boozer?
No, I think she was just felt like she lost the battle and decided, well, I'm just going to go off and do my own thing. And I don't really know.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm not a very good I'm not a therapist, but so she went off, and then my dad remarried to my stepmom, and my stepmom and I didn't get along, so they're like, well, someone's got to leave the house, and so, the younger one, I end up getting shipped off to boarding school.
Farley, does this create challenging relationships with women?
No.
I know you've had a girlfriend for a long time, right?
Yeah, Lisa.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah, I
you guys have a lovely relationship, but I can't imagine. I think you would almost feel abandoned by your mother, and then you have a stepmother who's. What a difficult scenario as a child. How did you process all this?
I think I didn't. I think I checked out. I think for me, TV, eating, I spend a lot of time away from the house. So I think you learn how to deal with things and escaping. I think when things are really painful and you don't have tools, you're like, I can escape
into fantasy.
And it's fantasy, and that could be whatever, TV, food, sex, drugs. It can be anything to get yourself out of the pain that you're feeling.
Yeah. So when you were a kid, what were the first things you wanted to be? Like, do you remember?
I think for me it was like drinking.
You just want to be a drunk?
Yeah. Well,
when you were a kid, did you have an idea what you wanted to be when you got older? You're like, I want to be a drunk.
No. I think by that time I was thinking. No, I still didn't know what I was going to be. I was like, I'm going to be something, but I don't know.
You had no idea.
I had
trying to get through the day.
I was trying to get through the day, and I think for me, I was like, well, something will happen.
What were you into? You were into like what, movies, music?
I was into skateboarding.
Skateboarding. Okay.
I was a horrible skateboarder.
Well,
I think
thank God you didn't have the braces on, right? You already went through that.
Yeah,
whole
the braces
phase.
were gone.
Yeah.
Skateboarding, and I was into what else was I into? I was into running. I used to do track and stuff. I used to run the mile in 4 minutes and like 3 seconds, 2 seconds.
Holy shit, that's impressive.
Yeah,
that's
so
really impressive.
Yeah, so I was really fast.
Wow.
I was really fast, and that helped me get into boarding school.
But you're like a long distance runner or like a sprinter?
I was
as
a
well?
sprinter.
Oh, really? What did you run? Do you know what you ran the 40 in or?
No, I just know I did the mile like almost in 4 minutes.
Wow.
And people would just go.
Wow, that's impressive.
Right, and I won some other stuff, but I don't think I ever really liked running.
Yeah.
But I got a reaction because I was so fast.
You know, this is so funny. I didn't know this about you. I was like, as a kid, no one could beat me, and I set records in junior Olympics, in the hurdles, and my junior year of high school, I ran a 4.540, and I had a 38-inch standing vertical. I mean, now I couldn't even run 20 yards with that. Like, I mean, it's terrible. But I was really fast and fit, and now it's all falling apart. I tore my knee up my senior year playing football, which was stupid. But that is so crazy. I would never have suspected that Farley is almost doing a 4-minute mile. That's hard.
Yeah.
First of all, to run a mile under 5 minutes is like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So you went to boarding school, and obviously you were in the track and field.
Yeah, so I hated having to practice.
Yeah.
So I would tell my coach, I'd be like, look, if I beat everyone in this one, like, if we do a race, can I go home? Can I go back to my dorm and just do whatever I want? And he's like, yeah. But you got to win. So I'm all right. I'd win. I'm like,
wow.
Bye.
Farley with the wheels.
I was like, see you later.
So good.
Yeah,
the hidden skills. He goes from having braces to fucking Speedy Gonzalez, like Roadrunner.
Yeah, and I remember there's this kid, his name was Aaron, and I used to always beat him. And his mom came to a race once, and he's like, dude, my mom's here. I'm like, don't worry. So I let him beat me.
Oh, wow. This kid, you're propping up this kid. You're setting him up for a life of failure.
His mom was like, whoa, And I literally, I remember I just, I saw him and I just did that like back, and he just went, woof.
Nice.
And his mom.
Farley knows how to make people look good.
Yeah. And he was like,
good sidekick.
Yeah. And
so you're in boarding school and you're kicking ass. You're letting people beat you if they need to.
Right.
The track and field. And then what was that? Where did you go to boarding school?
I went to one called Brandon Hall School in Atlanta, Georgia, Dunwoody, Georgia. And then
I can't imagine the whole boarding school thing. Is that a year-round thing, or just like you go home for the holidays?
Home for the holidays. It wasn't year-round. It was regular school. But I feel like we went. I felt like we went longer. But we live. You live on campus. It's kind of like going to college.
Yeah.
At a very young age, but you don't have the car and the keg parties and whatever. You don't have all that other stuff. But
wow.
Yeah.
You live in like a dormitory with a bunch of other kids your age?
Yeah. And that's when there's this kid, he used to rowboat. I didn't know what rowboating was.
I don't think I know.
It's Robitussin. And I remember he got kicked out because...
Oh, he was taking Robitussin.
Yeah, he overdosed on Robitussin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he used to call himself Rowboat. He's like, I'm Rowboat. I'm like, I didn't know what that meant until the ambulances showed up, and they're like, what happened to Rowboat? And he's like, oh, he almost died.
Wow. Wow. So you get through boarding school.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Slowly but surely. It was tough. It was tough emotionally. School-wise, it was tough. I would just work extra hard. I remember I used to wake up.
Were you a good student?
No. Yeah, I was a good student on certain things. Like certain subjects, like killed it, and certain ones, like, I was like, I would just guess. This is another funny boarding school story. I had this math test, and I literally like guessed. I'm like, guess. So I had this teacher named Miss Eccles, and she looked like Aunt Jemima, and she came in and she was like, Lolly, you took this math test. They think you know calculus. I'm like, I don't know calculus. She said, but right. She showed me where, like, we got that one right. I, like, made, like, and then I ended up getting a math award. Dude, I can't do math. Oh, wow. I literally, like, and I kept on telling Miss Eccles, like, I guessed. Like, there's no way you could have guessed.
Oh, wow. You were like a beautiful mind.
I was like...
You were Russell Crowe in the movie Beautiful Mind.
I was like... And she got the test and brought it to me and showed me, like, well, how did you do that? I'm like, I have no idea.
Just magically.
And then I got this math award.
Oh, wow. Killing
it. But dude, it's like, I'm like.
So, okay, now you got these math skills that you didn't even know how you did. You're like Einstein over here. This is so good. So what do you do with your math skills and your Speedy Gonzalez with math skills that you didn't even know you had? Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to a college called Landmark College for 2 years. So it's school for kids with learning disabilities, and they get you.
What learning disabilities did you have?
Dyslexia and ADHD. I still have it.
I got the same thing, but I didn't get to go to special. They didn't even know what the hell I had. They just told me I was stupid.
No. Yeah, I went to special school. It was great. It was a bunch of kids just like me.
Oh, wow.
So, and basically what they did is they basically prepped you and gave you the skills so then you could go to a regular school if you wanted to. Oh, wow. So, a lot of it was, you take classes on note-taking or how to take a test because, and how much time do you need on a test? And so they would give you all these scenarios or they would, with learning disabilities, sometimes you can have them, they'll record a test and so you can listen to it. And then, so they taught you the laws of, you can go into like a university and say, look, I have a learning disability. Can I need these things. Like I need someone to read me the test or I need the test to be on tape or,
wow, God, I missed out on all these opportunities.
Or I need extra time. Like let's say the test only gives you an hour. Say, look, I need an hour and 30 minutes. And I show you have proof that you have a learning disability. And they go, cool. All right. Are they cool? Okay, we'll have someone read because some people are auditory. They need to hear the question and then, oh yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah.
So with, being able to show the college that you want to go to a regular college, they have resource places and they'll help you take tests. And so after that, I went to Chapman and they were able to give me those, I was able to take classes and take tests that way.
That's amazing. I remember I convinced one of my professors to let me do the test orally.
Yes.
But I didn't learn that I had learning disabilities until I was an adult. And so I had gone through this whole time just thinking I was a moron. But I knew that I was good at I had skills, but I just didn't fit into, wasn't able to learn like other kids would. I mean, my whole thing was to get a C.
Right.
And I would like cheat and do whatever I could to do that. It was pretty sad. I was like, what a waste of all that time and energy. Wow. So you go to school, you have the learning disabilities, and then did you figure out what you wanted to do then?
I wanted to be in radio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I ended up
broadcaster.
Yeah, I wanted to have because I love music, so I wanted to have my own radio show, and I was obsessed with music. So, I grew up listening to like the Butthole Surfers and Ministry and just Susie and the Banshees, the Smiths. Like I was into a lot of just crazy rock and, like Sonic Youth and a lot of that indie rock, the Lemonheads, Dinosaur Jr., all that stuff. And so I wanted my own radio show. I wanted to be able to this is the Farley show, and be able to play music. Yeah. And I remember I was in Vermont going to school and I went to meet this guy and he worked at a radio station and I was supposed to go up there and like interview him. And I get up there and he's like this big dude. He's like smoking a cigarette. And I go, I want to do radio. He goes, man, you don't do that. He's like, you won't make any money. Like, look at me. He goes, this is 20 years of radio. And I'm like, oh, okay. So
he got you out of the...
He burned...
Just ruined your whole hopes and dreams, yeah.
And he was like, I don't make any money. He's like, look at my car, and it's like this clunker, and I'm just like he's like, I'm single, and I'm just like, okay, all right.
It's like, I'm a loser, and I couldn't figure it out, so don't even try.
Don't even try.
You know, wow, that guy's great. I wonder why he didn't work out for him. The message of bad hope.
And it was so funny because I was so excited driving up there to meet this guy, and he's a radio guy, and you get there and it's just like he just poo-pooed all over me.
Wow, that's terrible. Okay, so now your radio dreams have been destroyed. Mm-hmm. And then are you like a communication studies major? What do you?
Yeah, I'm doing communications and I'm doing theater. I was doing plays, and I was doing, I got cast in some plays, like small parts, and I was, and it was a lot of fun. I remember I got in this play called Try, and I played like these two characters. I played like a doctor one scene, and then I played like a soldier from one scene. So at that time, I started drinking a lot, and I was spending a lot of time at the bars, and I was making friends. So this is in Vermont. So I tell my friends, hey man, I'm going to be in this play. And they're like, dude, well come. And I'm like, that's great. So they come that night, and I come on stage. I don't think any of these guys have ever been to a play, because they start going, yeah, Farley. They start cheering like it's like a baseball
hilarious. Game. That is really funny.
And like every time I'd say a line, they'd be like, yeah.
So, was the director freaking out?
So after the play, the director comes up and he goes, Farley, can I talk to your friend? I'm like, I know. He's like, who the hell was that? I'm like, those are my bar buddies. He's like, have they ever been to play? I'm like, clearly not. He goes, don't ever invite them again, number one. He goes, I don't know.
God,
he's
hilarious.
like, I couldn't stop laughing. He said, it's just like,
that's funny.
They thought it was like,
I had a similar experience in junior high. I was on the basketball team, and I was friend with all the crazy people, and so all the dudes in the stoner alley, because I was all over the place. It wasn't like I wasn't like a jock. I was also like a drunk, crazy person that listened to, different types of music and stuff. So I had a lot of different friends. I had all the if you were a problem kid, we were probably friends.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah,
so
definitely.
I have all of like the gang of just like the school's not okay people. And remember when MC Hammer had that song called Go Hammer?
Yeah.
So we would get the whole crowd saying, go Hilliard, which would be great if I was like on the court dominating, but right. I'm sitting on the bench. And I remember like the coach just looking down at me like, are you fucking serious right now? Like I orchestrated all of it. Like I'm like, okay. And everybody, it was really hilarious though. Just like, what is going on here? What the fuck is this? This got the jackass on the bench is disrupting the whole game. God, that teacher, actually, that coach at one point, I remember he threw me against the locker and told me I wasn't going to amount to anything. That was great. And this is the guy that would give like the girls the back rub and like look down their shirt. What a fucking creep that guy was. Like he would
Yeah. When I was in boarding school, I experienced the first a teacher fell in love with a student.
Oh my God.
And they started having sex and they left in the middle of the night and moved to Virginia.
Wow.
And
guy teacher, girl student?
A guy student, girl, and they had like 2 kids and they were married.
Wow.
And
they went for it.
Yeah, and she just left that whole scenario.
Wait, she was married, had 2 kids, and started having an affair with like, and how old was this guy? Senior, junior?
I think he was like in 11th grade.
Wow, so he's like 17 years old.
Yeah.
It seems that you always see that in the news. Like
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so they left like in the middle of the night, like, and like the husband woke up and the kid, and they just, yeah.
Did she get busted? Did she get arrested?
No, I think the guy was probably saw it coming, and I from what I remember, kids talk.
The husband saw it.
The husband really felt like, I think he just. All I know is from what I've heard with the grapevine was they moved to Virginia. They ended up getting married. They ended up having kids.
Because in Virginia, you can marry a 17-year-old probably?
I think so. But they were all, it was just one of those things where it's like, this is the first time that I experienced this, because kids are like talking about like, dude, you're blah, 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 blah. I'm like, and then they left in the middle of the night and the husband's all crazy. And
hopefully she was like middle-aged lady that just looks scary.
Yeah.
That would be even better.
Yeah. I
was she a good-looking lady?
I remember she was a good-looking lady. I remember the guy was.
It seems like that's always a character. They're always like some attractive woman that's seduced a student. Couldn't just. I don't know. Wow, what a dynamic that would be.
Yeah, and that was the first time that like I was like, you hear about something like that, and you're like, but then, like now it's just like normal. Like it's like you hear that, and you're like, oh yeah. Well, she didn't take 2 of them. She just took 1.
Wow. So crazy.
Yeah, so now it's a phenomenon, like I mean.
So I've lost track of what's going on, Farley. I'm sorry. So
what?
You got yourself. We're in college. You're in Chapman. You got the learning disabilities. You got into the acting. You had all the rowdy kids show up. They gave you the shout out. You're doing acting, and you figured like I want to go to Hollywood now. I mean, you did the play. You were in the play, and they came and they.
That was in Vermont. So then I ended up going to Chapman, and
that was in the special. You're in the special needs school.
Right. That was in the special. I was getting because I went to Landmark and they taught me all the skills. So then I went to Chapman, and the funny thing about Chapman is I don't know how I got accepted, and somehow I got
a really good school, isn't it?
Yeah, and I got accepted, and I got the first year I had like a scholarship thing where they paid all the stuff.
You're like in a special needs scholarship program.
Right. I'm like,
this is incredible.
And my dad was like, man, how'd you pull that out, Farley? I'm like, I have no idea.
You're like, let's go back to Mrs. Eccles' class.
Right.
I'm pulling calculus out of my ass, right. Dad. I don't even know how they think I'm a fucking genius over here.
Yeah.
I got my braces. You should have been wearing your helmet back then.
I know. Yeah. And
oh my God, this is amazing.
So,
like you're the classic underdog story.
Yeah. I think
the underdog is always unpredictable.
Yeah. I that's the one thing I think about me.
Full of surprises.
Full of surprises.
So now you're in college, and what's that like at Chapman?
It was good. I think I was burned out by that time. If I could go back and do my life again, I would have taken a break at that time and just like pursued acting or, just because I've been going through school, and then I was in school again. And I think I needed to take that break, and I didn't. But I think I did it in another way. I ended up getting a job at a bar, and the shortstop. And so I got a bar job, and that's when basically like life became crazy.
What were you doing at the bar?
I was a bar back, and then I was doing some bartending, and then I was working the door, and then I love everyone there. It was a great experience, but this was one of those bars where drinking to excess and partying to excess
college bar, right?
It was not frowned upon.
There are always those characters in college that never got out of college that got the bar gig, and that was the pinnacle, and they never left.
Yeah, and but something about being behind a bar.
Yeah, I did the bartending.
You kind of feel like you kind of feel like you're on stage.
Yeah, you can put on a show. That's
right.
Nice to entertain people to make money. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you kick people out.
Yeah.
You have this power. Yeah, it's a great thing.
So how long did you do that? I mean, what made you propel you to move out to Los Angeles?
Okay, well, if we go back, I finished school, and I finished school at Landmark, and then I went to New York, and I was living in New York for a little bit, and I was going to the neighborhood playhouse acting school. Don't know how I got into there either. Then I met this girl, and I thought she was a ballet dancer, but she ended up being a stripper. But I didn't know that. And she's
Yeah,
like,
she's a dancer. You don't know. You're just.
She told me she was a
assuming
dancer,
Yeah, you figured she
and
was ballet. You gave her like a high status.
right. And she's like, I got to go and dance. And I said, oh, have fun tonight. You know, I was thinking she's going on Broadway.
Yeah, she's putting.
And then she figured out that I didn't understand.
Get it?
And she had a lot of money. I'm like, man, Broadway is just
Kills it, yeah.
Yeah.
You're a star on Broadway.
right. And
Ballerina.
yeah, and so yeah. And
So she was actually working at Scores.
Yes. And then I decided to leave New York with her, and she wanted to go see this tree that was in San Diego. So there was this tree that
That's what you do when you're like a stripper at Scores and you're making a shitload of money. Did she tell people that she was going back to school or she was in school to become a psychiatrist?
No, she didn't. She didn't do that. She was very honest.
So she wait. So she has to get to the tree. What's so special about the tree?
There's this tree that I think she grew up in San Diego or had some San Diego ties, and she wanted to go and to this tree because this tree was like a special tree.
Like the Bodhi tree, like where the Buddha.
No,
got
it was like a
enlightened?
real tree.
Well, no, that's where the Buddha got
really?
enlightened, was under the Bodhi tree. Not the bookstore here,
Right.
but an actual tree.
Right.
So did she seek enlightenment there? Or was she enlightened under this tree in San Diego?
Yeah, I think she thought that that's where she would get some answers in life.
And so, so you guys go cross country. Did you drive?
Yeah. We were in her Toyota Corolla, and just put everything we get in the little Corolla, and we just cruised on.
So wow, you did cross country with your ballet. You think's a ballet girlfriend who's actually a stripper. When did you figure out she was a stripper?
Oh, I think like Georgia or something.
You didn't even know until man, this is amazing. So you're going across country with your ballerina, then you get to Georgia and you realize this ballerina is a little bit more naughty than
right.
This is amazing.
She had a lot of heels. A lot of heels.
Oh my god. So good. So
The attire was.
How did you? Where was like the moment of like clarity for you?
Oh, she said I can work from the road.
Oh wow. So did you go to work with her, or she probably no, that would mess things up.
Yeah, but I didn't. And then it kind of clicked. She goes, "Hey, I can go in anywhere and work." Like, I'm like, there's Broadway everywhere, and there's not Broadway. There's Scores and Deja Vu and stuff like that everywhere, but. So we were.
God, this is so good.
So
I love this hustle, man. I would love to. If I was a woman, I definitely would have been a stripper.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I rolled with it.
Nice.
And
so you got this stripper girlfriend, and you don't even know she's a stripper. This is amazing. So you're in Georgia. You figure it out.
And I think we just kept going, and we stopped in Kansas City, and we were there for a little while, and then we went to because she had family in Kansas City.
Oh wow.
And then
I used to live in Kansas City.
And then we went from there to Prescott, Arizona. She had family there, and we lived there for just a little bit, and then we went to San Diego. And we went to the tree, and we decided that we were going to stay in San Diego. But then at that time, the relationship was imploding. It was just falling apart. It just was.
When you got to the tree, though, what? Did you just want to see the tree? Is that it?
Yeah, she just wanted to see the tree. She just
got to get back to the tree.
Got to get back to the tree. And then she decided she wanted to go back to live in Kansas City and marry not an artist. And have babies, and live a safe life, and and
tired of stripping,
right? And I said, I'm not about owning people or controlling people. I'm like, cool. If that's really what you want, we're just not the. And it was like a beautiful breakup because like one of those things where two people go like, man, I love you, but we want two different things. It's better if we go our separate ways.
Wow. So now you're in San Diego, and you guys are separating.
Right. And then at that time, I somehow got a letter that said I got into Chapman University. It's kind of weird how life works because like that happened, I got cut off, and then I get a letter, oh, you're accepted in Chapman University. I'm like, okay. So then I go to Chapman.
Where is Chapman?
Orange County.
Okay, so that's how you got. Okay, so now you're in Chapman, and then what are you studying there?
No, I first was in film.
Okay.
In the film program, and I was not very good. I don't know. I can't remember. I remember, yeah, it just wasn't my thing, and I think I was burnt out again. And then I went to let's see. Then so I ended up getting into anthropology and English.
Anthropology? Were you gonna be fucking
Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was that. I think it was just more where
that movie probably really helped explode the anthropology department.
Yes. I think I was at that point where everyone always told me that I'd never get a college degree. So I decided that I'm going to get a college degree.
And anthropology sounded like that.
Yeah,
sounded
it sounded like the right thing. And
did you like digging stuff up out of the ground? Discovering things?
I love discovering things, yes. I enjoyed it, and I was...
Did you ever have one of those, like, the things that find metal detector?
Yeah, that, and I mean, it was good.
You were in discovery phase.
I was in discovery phase, yeah.
Okay, so did you finish Chapman?
I finished Chapman.
You got a degree in anthropology.
No, I got what is it? It's like what is it? A bachelor's of associates, but like with certain like English and anthropology. Yeah, all that stuff.
Okay, so you like a majored in English with a minor in anthropology?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Wow.
Now the English thing was interesting to bring because somehow they when they're putting all the credits, so they're like, wow, you got a lot of English credits and you got a lot of great English stuff.
Especially with the ADHD and the dyslexia.
Yeah. I mean, it was just I think for anyone, whatever you're really into, you can hyper focus and you can do really well in those subjects. And subjects that are really you're not interested in, you're like, why am I doing this? I think it's a lot harder.
Okay, so what do you do now? You've graduated, Orange County.
What do I do now? What do I do now? It's so funny because I don't ever think about my life. I mean, I think like, what did I do after that? I was working at the bar, and I think
that's where the store stopped.
Yeah, and I think that's where I was. You
were like peaking, like this is it.
I'm thinking I'm gonna own a bar, go into the bar life. I made a lot of good friends at the bar. People seem to like me here.
Yeah, this works.
It was a party every night.
Yeah.
You met really cool people. I
get it.
Then what happened after that?
How did you get to Los Angeles, Farley?
I was through the shortstop because I was working at the shortstop, so I went and lived in Echo Park, Silver Lake area.
And then you were driving all the way down there to work?
No, I was living in Silver Lake, and I was driving to Echo Park and doing my job and everything.
Was there a sports stop in Echo Park?
Yeah.
Well, that's where it was the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't Chapman kind of far way down south?
Yeah, I was commuting and going back. But the thing is, with the last few years of college, like I didn't have to go as much because I had so many credits built up. I didn't know. So I would only have like 1 or 2 classes. And so I didn't have that workload. So I was able to go work at the bar and then go out to do some stuff at Chapman and then come back and still kind of back and forth.
So you're becoming like a drunk at the bar. You're working there.
Yeah,
I'm partying.
I'm partying. Yeah. I'm partying and it was crazy. It was the good times and the bad times.
Because I know you've done some acting and you've done some music. I know you recorded a bunch of songs, right? Did you put on an album?
Yeah. I did. I put out an album. I did with.
You've done stand up.
I did stand up. Let's see. I used to play a lot, like a lot of like music, like gigs and things like that.
Playing in different bands?
No, I had my own little solo stuff I was doing.
Oh, nice.
And but
what did that look like?
It was horrible. There are many.
What do you mean? Did you have? How was the setup? Were you playing the guitar? Did you have like a drum machine?
I was playing guitar and I was singing and
singer songwriter
thing. Oh yeah, I did some busking. So I would go out there
so
and I played on Hollywood Boulevard.
Really?
I used to make like $30 or $40 a night.
Did you have like so many different songs you did, like your go-to songs?
I had like 6 or 7 songs. But the great thing is that none of the same people would pass you, and so you could just kind of, you only needed so much of material. Yeah.
What were your songs?
I remember I had like a Misfits song. I had like a Bob Dylan song. I think I had some songs that I made up. I'd play like 12-bar blues. I would play like Eagles, just.
This is great. There's a guy that lives in this building. He lives with his mother, and they're always yelling and screaming at each other, or he's always yelling at her, and he's in there, belts out these songs, and he's always in front of, for years, he was at Barney's Beanery singing, but someone told me in the building that he might have recorded a song. Things are going really well for him. Like, he might have a song or a video on YouTube that's gotten really popular. I need to find out. He's like, my friends that live in the building, we call him, like, they're like feral people. He's just a character. This guy is, like, amazing. But he's like, I guess, called busking, right? When you're on the street, that's what you got to do, man. If you're going to become a master, he's in there every day, and you walk by his place, you can hear him fucking belting out songs.
And that's what it takes to do this thing. You have to keep on doing it over and over. And but the other thing I've learned in life is you can have all this skills, but if you don't go and meet people and you don't do those things to get you into, finding a manager or finding an agent or finding those things. If you don't have, it doesn't matter how talented you are. If you don't have those things, no one's ever going to hear about you. I mean, they might hear about you on YouTube or whatever, but there's still like these gatekeepers.
Yes, that's true.
That like, if they don't like you, then it ain't gonna ever happen.
Yeah, I've never had the hustle.
Yeah.
I had one time, I had a person at I met this guy at my gym that just moved here, and he was like he got a job working at an agency, and then I just was friendly with him, and then he discovered my stuff, and then he was leaving the agency, and then he was going to go work for his friend who had a record label, and then he showed the owner my stuff, and he was like fucking all about it, and I went in there, and I was like, I was gonna do a record deal, and I met all the different people. And then they had a falling out a week later, and then he told me, he goes, "You can't sign with him. They're just going to screw you over," and this whole thing. And I'm just like, at the time I was 40 years old,
right?
But I had done the songs and videos that had become popular, and then nothing ever came of it. But I didn't actively have the hustle that most of these people do, because I was just kind of making crazy videos. I wasn't able to put it together what I was really doing, because I felt I was too old. I figured you'd be 20 years old for anything like that to work out. I'm just a guy that's a character actor trying to play weirdos in films.
Right.
Well, even then you got to have, and I've been able to work in a bunch of films and stuff, and but there is a hustle, which I'm hopefully going to evolve into the right hustle and get representation at some point. I have a couple more films coming out.
Right.
That I was in, so I'm hoping that I can up the ante to focus on my skill as a white exploitation actor, which you got to figure your niche, Farley.
Yeah,
you figured out the hustle. You got to have somebody in your corner.
Yes, I've
had a ton of people pitch me that they want to manage me, but they're not managers.
Right.
I've had that all day long, which is I'm like, could you at least work for management companies? like what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think that the one thing that happened to me was that there was a lot of people that I trusted or I thought that had my back, and no one really told me anything until later. It was a weird. I think people have this belief like there's just pizza and there's only so many slices.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's a lot of slices, and I think that everyone should be given a chance. But it's one of those things where you just go, well, I feel like I'm a late bloomer.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm one of those guys that things will kind of like Bukowski. I kind of feel like I'll hit it, and by the time I hit it, I'll be happy, but I'll be like.
So are you still doing the music scene? Are you still putting out music?
I'm doing comedy, and I'm doing my podcast, and I'd love to be acting. I mean, I studied acting for many years
Yeah.
and tap dancing, and you know, I've studied with some really great people, and I know how to break down a scene. I know how to do the work.
Farley, this is it. I'll tell you what you need to do.
What?
You're gonna get into full character. Costuming is very important. Now, the one thing you just said, which really, because I took tap dancing when I was like a little tiny kid. You're going to get the tap dancing shoes and costumes, and then you're going to deliver monologues. You can do original monologues or whatever, and then you're going to videotape yourself. And then you're going to put this shit like on, I don't even know the TikTok world.
Right.
But you could literally just deliver monologues while tap dancing in weird, bizarre costumes. And it's going to happen.
Oh, dude, I could do. I remember I learned how to tap dance at the Debbie Reynolds Studios, and I remember when I walked in that day. Everyone I think was 70, and I was not.
That's so good. And how old were you when you doing this?
I think I was maybe like late 20s.
Yeah.
And I was, and all these ladies loved me, and they would bring me cookies, and we learned how to tap dance to Michael Jackson's Thriller. So we did,
so good.
And it was just, and there's this moment, it was just so cool. I mean, these, you know, it's like sweating to the oldies with the like, or like, you know, like this Jane Fonda moment where, you know, you have all these mirrors and you're like,
just going
I'm like, and like grandmas are behind me. They always want me to be up at front.
Yeah. You're like the fucking rock star.
And I'm just like, you know,
the grandmas.
I'm waiting for heart attacks or, you know.
Okay, Farley, this is what we're doing. I have tap dancing shoes.
I do too. I just saw them before.
We're going to have to put together some sort of tap dancing performance. God, because it's so ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
To do some terrible, I got to figure this out. I got to put this together. The tap dance, there's something there. Because it is a lost art form. Two middle-aged white guys just going to town tap dancing.
Yeah.
Could be completely terrible. This is what it's come down to, Farley.
Yeah.
It's dressed up in some idiotic costumes with full commitment. Yeah, there's something here. This is what you do on these podcasts. You discover. We're just...
you have to discover...
possibilities. Okay, this is great. So you learn... This is what I love about this podcast. I have a deeper connection with friends of mine and understand other skills that they have. This is incredible. Farley, the tap dancing master.
The other thing about podcasts that I noticed that, like, when you walk out the door, you're like, I should have said this and this and this and you know, you're like,
every single one. I live out like major
you're like
plot points to the story that I forget that my mind goes too fast.
Yeah.
So this is incredible. So you're busking, you're doing that for a while. You're doing your cover songs, and then you've done that. How did you get into doing stand-up?
How did I end up doing? Well, you know, when I used to do a lot of open mics, and I used to play music, and so the funny thing about me playing music was, I would get really nervous.
Okay, so because you are a funny character.
Yeah, so I would get really nervous, and I would be like sweating, and then I would do. So then I noticed people started doing versions of me.
Oh, this is amazing. They were imitating.
They were imitating. There's this one guy. There's one guy. I remember he came up to me and goes, "Dude, I'm an actor, and I did a version of you for my acting class. Everyone thought it was brilliant." And so then I started telling like jokes in between my songs, and people started laughing, and that's where I was like, "Oh, maybe I could do a stand-up comedy thing," because I would.
Yeah.
And I noticed I was getting more laughs than like the music. It was like the music was kind of leaving, and the comedy was. And then so I started making up funny songs, and great. I started to like just kind of improv on stage, and I didn't know if I wanted to do stand-up comedy at the time. I just think it, like I said, it was one of those like two ships passing, like, oh, maybe that's really what I should be doing. Oh, I just thought of it. Okay, the way that I got into saw comedy was there was this girl in my acting class, and she was writing a movie about a horrible stand-up comedian and this blind girl, and they fall in love. So she's like, you need to go study stand-up comedy. So I went to the Comedy Store, and I went up there, and I'm like, I'm an actor. my friend's writing this movie and I'm supposed to be this horrible comic. And this lady's like, oh, you're in the right place. and so they let me for free. Like I would go there and they let me sit in the back. I never had to pay a dime. But then I started seeing these great comics. But then there's, the thing when you're watching these people, like, I don't know if I can do that. And I wish she would have made that movie. I think it was a great script about this, horrible comic, blind lady, and they end up becoming friends, and she ends up heckling him, and then she ends up teaching him how to do comedy, and they fall in love, and he ends up becoming a big comic. And it's this beautiful love story. And I'm like, but it never, it's like, it's not a Hollywood thing, a great story that never was made.
Yeah, it's hard.
And it could be a really great story if it was done properly.
Yeah.
And the guy who played the comic was this guy who kind of like fell in love with a woman because she was blind and learned about, being blind and going through that kind of experience. And, he had to finally take care of someone because, they had these, but she, walking with her and his whole life, he was so self-centered that it kind of brought this other side of him going, having to help her out of bed and get her places. And at times he get frustrated because he was like, oh yeah, you can't see. So it's that because a lot of, not all, but there's a lot of comics that are very self-indulgent.
Well, yeah, it's a very narcissistic thing to be really successful.
And I think to take care of a blind person, it makes you have to separate that.
Yeah.
And you have that, you learn something. You're like, oh shit.
The difficult thing about stand-up is you have to listen to yourself do your act over and over again. You keep trying to get it better and better. So you have to be able to I can't hear myself. Like once I do the podcast, I can't listen to it. It's just, my girlfriend will play it and I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. I have the same thing.
To get the material really good, you have to, but then I always saw it as it's not really me. I'm doing a character.
Yeah.
So it made a lot. That's how I do all my stuff. I just make it as a character. So it's not me.
I think for me, my stand-up comedy, I have a really great friend named Jeremy Scipio, and he's awesome comic. You guys should look him up. And he got me into going to stand-up. And when I first started doing stand-up, he would go up on stage with me, and we'd just riff.
Oh, nice.
And it was like, and because we would talk about funny, I did this whole thing about how I've never taken a shit in the woods and how I wanted to go up into Griffith Park and take a shit in the woods. And I had this friend who said he'd bail me out of jail if they ended up getting caught. And then I was afraid about going up there because my dad told me that's where all the funny people do funny things, and I might get caught maybe taking a deuce, and they might think that that's a mating call, that the funny people will come down and try to attack me when I'm taking the deuce.
The funny people are just like the Satanists, like the
funny people are, as my dad he calls those are the like the men who like young boys.
Oh, jeez.
So he calls, he's like, you don't want to go up there. There's the funny people. He goes, I heard in Griffith Park, there's the funny people up there.
It might be, yeah.
Yeah, so we just whole bit about that. Then he would share something about his life, and I would riff off that, and that's how
improving, bantering.
It was like this, and people loved it because it was honest, and and it was and we started, and then I started just talking about my day and finding the joke in my day, and it's very easy to do with you take notes and you watch people.
Yeah, especially if you have a strange disposition towards life.
Yeah,
that's great. So now you're doing comedy. You're doing crazy songs, funny songs.
Yeah, I'm doing. I'm leaving the music and I'm going into comedy.
Doing more comedy.
And what is after that? I go through some hard times.
I know you definitely had some hard times. I know that you had like the digestive situation, then you had like an eye situation.
Yeah, well, what happened I ended up getting a job working at a rehab.
Okay.
And I have to say it was the most magical moment because I got to help people. And one thing I enjoy in life is I really enjoy helping people. I really enjoy helping people and watching someone come in who's struggling and then seeing them in, maybe a month or 2 months getting their life together. They're getting a
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
They're talking to their parents again. They're building their ship again. And then you see them get on their ship and they go off, and you're like, I was a part of that in a sense. And it's like maybe parenting in a sense. So I really enjoyed that, but I became into workaholicism.
Yeah.
So I was working at the rehab like literally 6 days a week, and
Made it hard to do all your creative stuff, I'm sure.
Right. So that kind of went to the wayside, and I was a really big smoker. So I would do this thing where I'd set out my cigarettes and I would count the hours I had to work. So I had like an 18-hour shift, so there'd be 18 cigarettes out there. So I know how much closer I was to my shift to be over.
Farley will adapt to an environment.
Yeah, so I ended up doing that, and then like I said, I wore myself out, and I ended up getting really sick. And we're going to Cedars. I know I was getting really thin, and I was
all the stress because you're dealing with people in high stress situations, which does transfer to the
and
hard not to absorb a lot of that stress.
So I was going to bed one night, and I was sweating, and I wasn't feeling well, and I told my girlfriend Lisa, I'm like, you gotta take me to the hospital. She's like, you're and just something in my mind knew that like if I don't go to the hospital now, I won't wake up tomorrow. So we get to Cedars. And I'll never forget, we walked in, and you know how you usually have to wait in line? They looked at me, and I was in a bed, and like literally, like, bam. And this lady is like sitting, she's like shaking me, and she's like, you're dying right now. Your organs are shutting down. I need to get this tube down you, or your organs will shut down, and you will die.
Oh my God. And
it was one of those wake-up moments where you're sitting there going, this is it? This is it. So I was in ICU, and I was there, and it was one of those moments where you start looking at life differently.
What did they figure out was wrong? I mean, there's a time where they weren't sure, right?
Well, yeah, they said it was a bacterial infection that could have got into my blood.
Oh my God.
And then there was I think I had like colitis and I just had I remember there was these two, like, they had these tubes in me, and there was like these two buckets, and they'd fill up with like this black stuff, and then they would come and they would dump it, and they were just like literally, and I remember
tubes of black stuff. What do you mean, coming out of you? Or
coming out of me. Like I had these tubes in me, and like black stuff was like, and like these two tubes were like on each side of the bed, and they would come and they would dump them, and they'd fill up again, and so after that another funny part is I hadn't walked in like a few days. So they're like, oh, you can walk. So my girlfriend thought it was really funny because I didn't know that my thing was cut out. So I'm walking down the hall, my ass is hanging out, and they're like, get him back. I did.
That's fucking good.
I didn't know. And then
so you like a near death experience, and they're able to figure it out.
They were able to figure it out, and I had to change diet, to change the way I do things. But now I have a thing called uveitis, and uveitis is kind of like you slowly go blind if they don't come up with a cure. But it's kind of like going blind, like very slowly.
You have this now.
I have this now. So and I get shots in the eyes. I'm doing all this stuff.
God.
But my doctor's like, if we, because I go all the time and I do they're like, you're probably gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna be okay. But let's say I didn't do anything about it. Like he's like, it's kind of like someone slowly turning the lights off in your life, and then you're blind. Like but it's very slow. It's not like
you're gonna be the blind guy that gets the girl to become a comic. She's gonna be this terrible comic.
Right. Well, let's flip it. That's the sequel.
Oh God, that's terrible.
And so I got into dog walking.
That's right. You're like the master dog walker.
Yeah,
it could be a very lucrative business.
It can. I really enjoy dogs. I mean, dogs are so honest. They're just like, I need, they tell you what's up.
Yeah. I can imagine you are such a lovely guy that I'm sure people you're a person that someone would definitely trust with their dog.
Yes.
Because you're like, I get it. My girlfriend's dog is the most amazing. I would kill for this dog.
Right.
It is like we're both obsessed with this dog. It's the best. I love this dog so much. It's like the greatest. If I could clone this dog, I mean, I want to get really successful so I could make clones of this little dog. It's so cute. But it's like I could imagine like nothing else in my life, but if I didn't have to do anything but just take care of this dog, I would be okay.
And Jeff, being I'm so happy, being in one of your videos. The one thing that's like, I love your videos, and I'm like, I sit there and I think, why didn't anyone pick it up? Like, why, there's so many people that I've met in my life, you're super talented, and I'm like, why did anyone, figure this out, or why, it boggles my mind.
I've had a lot of people come into my life and like, we're going to do your show, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I've spent a lot of times being told that and nothing happens type of thing. I've been able to act in some movies, which has been exciting.
You're in that movie with Matt?
With Matt. Oh yeah. We were in Dog Eat Dog.
Yeah.
I just, it's a hustle thing. I've messed up a lot of things. I should never stop doing stand-up. I fell into work and recovery so I could make money to afford to buy all this nonsense to make my videos. I don't know. I think that I have 2 movies that I'm in that are coming out, and they're supposed to be really good. So hopefully I'd like to just be a working actor. I have film projects I'd like to make. I have a bunch of songs I want to make into music videos. I'm going to go do a gig. I think it's going to happen where I'm going to be able to make some money, and I'm going to use that money to make my next music video. So I don't really know. I guess to make it really successful, you need to be a sociopath, narcissistic lunatic, like a win at all costs. And I don't necessarily think I have a lot of that in me that cares that much. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I totally make.
You need to be, and now I would. I don't know. I don't really know what the deal is. I mean, you have to be pretty skilled. I'm not. I don't know if I think I'm the best business person.
Right.
Show business. I know how to do some show stuff that people like, and some things have happened. But I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that. Like, why am I not? Because I get that a lot, and I always feel
and it's a compliment. It's a compliment. Yes. I'm not trying. It's one of the things. Like, why didn't people wake up? Like, I want to shake. Like,
I mean, I have. I've been very fortunate. Things have not. Like when I was doing stand up, I remember I did the 3 auditions for the Kilborn show. And I wanted to be on the Jimmy Kimmel show because I knew it had more possibilities. Right. And I told the guy who booked it, I'm like, is there anybody I can do a showcase for you? And he's like, look, I can't look at you, Jeff. I know you're really funny. I haven't seen you, but I can only look at you if you're a minority or you're female or, gay or whatever.
Right.
So that was in 2000, like 2002 maybe. So at that point, I was kind of like, there's a lot of weird, like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? There was this whole weird thing where you have to be really disabled, I guess. So now I've figured out that, I would never tell people about my learning disabilities and all my flaws, but now today I figured out my midlife crisis situation, which is why I'm doing the podcast, so I can go on through all of this horrible stuff that's happened to me.
Right.
So then somehow I can victimize myself into opportunity is what. What? No, I don't know. I'm joking.
Yeah. Well,
but if I was in a film, I got cast in a film, and then it was a studio film, and then I got uncast because they needed to they had to cast a minority for the part to get the tax credit. So I think if I really wanted to make it right now, there's a part of me that thinks that I might be a woman. I would just go get the boob job, and then I would fast track myself to stardom.
Tootsie 2020.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's what it takes to make it. You got to have, I guess if I went full on activist, like hating Donald Trump, like completely crazy, that could be, I dedicate my entire life to becoming that. I don't fucking know. I'm just doing stupid characters to make myself laugh and hope other people, enjoy it. To become a star is, you have to be like now on a reality show or something. I don't fucking know.
Well, I think today, like,
TikTok star. You gotta be.
Yeah, you gotta be a TikTok star. You gotta be a YouTube star. You gotta be a whatever star. And
it's just a lot of nonsense.
If I could have the perfect life, someone said you can do anything you want. I would like to. I'd like to be in movies and do some TV.
Work as a character actor.
Work as a character. I have my own show.
Yeah.
Like to have
what would your own show look like?
I would do I want something like Roseanne. Like I love sitcoms. Like I love the jokes and the funny situations. And I would like to do that. And then I'd like to teach acting. Like I want to get back. Like I want to. If I had any success or whatever, I want to go help others and teach and put together plays and put that I really believe like that whole giving back. But if I could have my own career, I think it would be. But I really want to do dramas. Like there's a lot of like I love when you're doing a scene and it's really honest and people are really talking to each other and having that like that energy exchange and being able to be in a movie where it brings somebody up or someone walks out of the theater going, man, I feel a little bit better about my life or that guy inspired me to not give up whatever dream or whatever road I'm on. Those things. But I don't need to like go out and I don't need people to go, oh, this blah, blah, blah. Like I don't.
You want to be involved in projects and stuff that help inspire other people. Do you want to tell a story? Yeah.
That are funny and that are, that people will see. But I feel like there's so much content today. Like I have some friends that are on some stuff, but I'm trying to get through stuff that is already, there's like
10 years ago. Yeah.
Right. And you're like, dude, I'll catch up to your show.
Trying to get into Game of Thrones at some point.
Right. I hadn't even started that yet.
Yeah.
See?
I'm on season 2.
Right. See what I'm saying? So there's so much content that's like, oh man.
Everything's in a specific niche.
Yeah.
Well, I think you just have to keep making stuff. You just keep doing stuff that you enjoy doing. The success thing, I don't know. I guess I am successful, I feel, because I've already been able to do all the things I was told I would never be able to do.
Yes. So, and I think me and you, like...
You just have to keep adapting to how to be a creative person. So how did you come about doing your podcast?
I came out doing my podcast because of my friend Jeremy. Because I was taking a really great stand-up class, this guy named Jerry Corley, and I was taking his class, and we were, it was in Burbank, and you write some jokes, and you go up on stage, and you work on it. It was really, really good feedback, and it was really coming together. And then COVID hit.
Oh no!
And then I was going up to the store, and I started making friends with people at the store, and things were kind of like unraveling. And, whoa, this is looking great. And then COVID, boom. So my friend Jeremy was like, dude, you just got to start a podcast. And so I was like, oh, okay. And so my first idea was to do a show about helping others who are struggling right now.
Yeah.
So I've interviewed, you're going to be on it. And I hate that word interview, but I had conversations with people and they talk about their life and, like some people talk about how they found Jesus, and some people talk about how they found sobriety. Some people talk about what keeps them going. What is their like one friend, he has a daughter, and that's all. And he thought he had success in Hollywood, he had money, he had this, and he said the most amazing thing in my life is having a daughter. Like he's like, dude, I've had all that stuff, and I thought it was gonna fill that hole. Yeah, but having a daughter and being a dad is just, dude. He's like, it's amazing.
Nothing fixes a hole.
Yeah,
inside. Yeah, I think once you figure that, you have to fix yourself, and then you can be a positive something in anyone else's life. But if your thing is wounded and you're trying to fix yourself with other thing, it's never gonna work out.
Well, and the other thing is where with comedy and with so much content today, there's something I might not like, but millions, like I'm just one person. Like I have one opinion. Like my opinion doesn't really matter, and like no one's opinion doesn't really. It's like you like what you like.
Yeah.
As you like funny videos, or you like cat videos, or as you like Games of Thrones, or you like there's an audience for everyone.
Yeah, there is. I'm surprised because I have people messaging me that are listening to this, which is incredible. I figured it would just be there's probably 10 people maybe listening to it now.
Right.
I'm just kidding. It's probably more. No, I get messages from people that I haven't maybe talked to in 10, 15, 20 years, and they're into it, and it's a good way to, it's about connection, you know, and that's what it is, like telling stories, playing characters, doing anything, like when you're doing music or you're expressing yourself, it's about human connection. And especially in a world right now where I think people feel very isolated, people feel very alone, there's a lot of fear going on. So I think anything to do that you can feel, because your life experiences, and you're a very funny person, and you're naturally funny by like just your life experiences, but then having opportunities to create a platform where people can express themselves as I'm talking the entire show. I just have a show where people come on and then just basically force them to listen to me talk about myself. I thought that would be a great show.
No.
No, but just to have, I wanted to have a platform where there's people in my life that I think that are amazing, that have participated in like stuff I've done creatively and what have you, so that other people can discover them and learn about them and where they came from and how we got to know each other. And you're a very lovely person, Farley.
I try to be, and for me, I see myself as a team player. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I don't want to be the star. I want to be
part of something good. Yes. Which is everything I've ever done is a collaboration.
Right.
There's all the people involved, and the people show up, and you want to make something fun.
Well, and the other thing is, I think everyone counts, from the guy who brings the lights to the guy who brings the food and brings the water. Like, everyone, and you have that amazing like, just when
energy.
When it's going well, it's like, wow, and when it's not going well, you're learning how to make it better.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe like there's any mistakes. Like,
so coming out of COVID, you're gonna just like focus on the stand up. You're gonna go.
Out of COVID, I've been writing a lot of stand up, and I've been working on that, and funny bits, and just learning how to work on making the laughs, and
a lot of that is getting on stage and performing an awful lot.
Well, the thing is, what I learned, I can do that at home.
Yeah.
And tape it. Like, I went and saw Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, he's very funny. Great storyteller.
He's great, and he told the story about having to put down his dog, and I felt like it was the best moment of the night because it was so honest.
Yeah.
And I love him. At times I feel like he's trying to make you, like, he's trying to be funny. But the best times I think he's funny is when he's just being him.
Yeah.
And he told the story about having to put down his dog and the family, and he's like crying. And I'm like, this is a real moment right here. This is a
humanity.
real...
People want to hear, because it's so dark that people want to know there's humanity out there.
Right.
Because we're just being bombarded with terrible, like, we're involved in some sort of psyops war between like all the different news stations and like everything else, just making people feel terrible about themselves so they become better consumers. So that's where it's kind of funny where this world of podcasting is taken off, where people just want to have maybe in the background real conversation.
Yeah.
People be like real humans that aren't.
Yeah. So he's telling this story, and he's talking, they have to put down this dog, and they have to call this person, like the killed the dog person. They call the killed the dog person. Oh, they come over.
What an awful job that would be.
I know. What do you do? I kill dogs all day, all night.
Dogs sleep.
Yeah. So so they had to put the dog in the lady's car. I think it's a full package. Like, you pay for the death, and then you give the dog to them, and they cremate it and send it to you in a little box with a little paw on top. But so they're putting the dog in, and they're closing up, and his daughter Isla goes, she's getting ready to drive away, and she goes, "Call us if he wakes up."
That's funny.
And Bert's like, "That's my daughter." And like, this whole bit was just, I'm like crying, I'm laughing, but I'm crying. Like, this is a really funny moment, but it's a real human moment.
Yeah.
Like, I know, I love the, like, the boom, boom, boom jokes and the, dick and fart jokes. Those are all great. But when, like, I think that's what Pryor did. Like, Pryor, when I watch him, he makes you laugh, but he hits you.
Yeah.
And that, like, real. He hits you, like, right there, and you're like, oh, man. But you're laughing, but there's, like, these two things going on. Carlin as well.
Yeah, brilliant. So how do people discover Farley? How do they find your podcast?
Okay, this is a fun. I'm still trying to learn this stuff. Okay, so you can type in "Just Don't Kill Yourself Today" on an Apple or Google. I have a.
You have Instagram, right?
I have an Instagram page.
And if you're listening to this and you can't figure it out, you can go to the YouTube and I'll have all the links underneath it.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to it, what's your Instagram?
Farleypodcast. And what else? And then Farleypodcast at Gmail if you want to email me. You know, anything, you know. I want to hear everything. And what else? That's it. I'm gonna get a phone number so people can text me.
Just call in.
Text.
Yeah.
I think everyone should have that.
Yeah.
So you can get some good calls. You can play it on. You're like,
yes, I know people do that. I think.
Like questions, like you'd be like, I'm gonna have blah blah. You want to ask him any question? Like, oh, Farley's coming in again.
Well, you tell people because I have people will message me and I'll have questions.
And cool.
Then I'll answer it.
Oh.
I try to. Sometimes I just message them back, but I'll answer them on when I do the podcast if I remember.
So I have another question. So
sure.
how do you? I haven't done this solo yet. I haven't done a solo podcast, and so I'm starting 2 new podcasts.
Oh wow!
One's called the Farley Show.
Uh-huh.
It's a comedy show. And it's just jokes. It's only 15 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm gonna have another thing called Farley's Thoughts, and that's like a 5-minute everyday podcast. So for 5 minutes, I'm just gonna ramble about whatever it could be. Maybe I had some pootie in the pants, or maybe I the dog
Whatever's
situation.
Yes.
And ramblings. And
Farley's rambles.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna do that. But I just think you just keep making stuff, and hopefully people will like you. Or I'm into people not liking me. I want to hear from the haters. I want to hear like, dude, you stutter too much, and you look in between like Robert Smith and I don't know.
Well, you can do about anything. I have different friends will come on, and I just have them as like an Ed McMahon, so I'm not just talking to the camera because it's just then I lose my train of thought, so they can help me get back on train of thought. And then I want to obviously interview people and have people on, so then other people discover them. But I think you just do whatever. There's an open forum, whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
And I think another thing that'd be good to do is if you have like a Zoom, like if you have people that you can see. I did a show, a Zoom show, and there was people there watching on Zoom. And then as far as like, it's almost, there's an element of stand-up stuff because I could see, because I regressed back when I was a stand-up, I'd see like, oh, that's funny. And I would go down those different paths because I'm getting a reaction from people.
Right.
Which is kind of weird for me to do something where you don't even know, unless I'm like as hired as an actor to deliver some lines or something, I can figure that out. But it's kind of funny if you're just fucking around and with by yourself completely alone, it would just get weird. But a lot of people are good at doing that too. That's an art form in itself.
Yeah,
there's some comedians that do that all by themselves. They just kind of probably have an outline of stories, maybe they're working on for material, and they'll discover it in the middle of it. I like to have someone I can at least feel the energy of playing off of, because then it's just too nuts.
Yeah.
I get 2 in my head and I would be like, this is terrible. I wouldn't even be able to. With this, I don't even think about it. And since someone else is involved, it makes me let it go. Because if it was just me, I couldn't even deal with it. Because I'd have to listen back to it. Oh my God, it'd be terrible. We've been going on, how long? We've done it, Farley. We've done it. Anything, anything you want to say.
Oh, I just want to say thank you for letting me be on the podcast. Jeff, I love you a lot and you're amazing.
Well, I feel the same way about you, Farley.
I hope I said some great things. I always I feel like I'm very hard on myself.
Of course.
I'm like, oh, maybe I didn't, maybe it wasn't funny enough.
It's not about that.
And maybe I just tell the story, and but more to come.
Yeah.
And I think we should definitely do that tap dancing thing.
That's a good idea.
And we just got to figure out what costume to wear.
Yeah, we could maybe do some Shakespeare and tap dance some Shakespeare.
Yeah. Or we could do just
original monologues.
Yeah. We could do commercials.
Yeah, we could figure out some terrible commercials with tap dancing.
Yes.
You guys are going to help sell. We could help sell your business. We could shoot a commercial where we are tap dancing. Come on down to Bob's Toyota.
Yeah.
And buy a pickup truck.
Pickup truck.
Tap dancing away.
Yeah.
Like a terrible tap dancing duo.
Yeah, I'm into, make up the whole thing.
Yeah, I gotta find my tap dancing shoes. I know I have them. I think in my storage unit.
Really?
Yeah, I bought tap dancing shoes because I was going to do a full on tap dancing thing. Yeah.
And it just.
I don't know what happened. I don't know. I have a lot of things I want to do. I just haven't done them yet, or it just hasn't fit into the situation to do it. But yeah, that's on the to-do list.
Yeah.
Because there's something that is a beautiful art form. Tap dancing.
It is. And it needs to come back.
Yeah, we're gonna bring it back.
Like bring sexy back or bringing this back.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a song or something with tap dancing.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening, folks. This has been another episode of the Jeff Hilliard Show. Farley, check him out. Farley is amazing. If you remember the Good Life music video at the end, when the homeless character is getting a blowjob, that's from Farley.
Me.
Fucking nailing it. Thank you all. I love the messages. If you have questions, you want me to answer stuff, you can send those to me. I love it. I'm excited you're even listening to this and watching it. It's awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye.